welcome to Beyond the Battle. I'm going to call it Beyond the Battle. Basically, we're going to talk about how Zach over here started his career actually as a b-boy and personal trainer, and actually took that to become a very successful entrepreneur. And we're going to talk today just a lot of things that will help inspire a lot of artists and b-boys and creatives out there to look outside of the box when it comes to their artistry and their craft. So yeah, today I'm really excited because we're talking to Zach. Zach is so inspirational. I heard his story online, actually on another podcast with Doomz, and it's just an inspirational story for a lot of dancers and b-boys and just artists in general out there. And I'd love to just ask you, just tell the crowd a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually born in Korea, and then I grew up in Iowa, and that's where I got into breakdancing. Because a guy just gifted me this DVD. It was like How to Breakdance by Mike Garcia. A VHS actually, and I watched it. I fell in love with it and started practicing, and eventually started a crew, started battling all over the Midwest, and then eventually made it onto So You Think You Can Dance, and that kind of kick-started my career and helped me teach dance workshops all around the world. So towards the end of my career, guys, I was making multiple six figures just teaching dance and workshops, and that's what I did for several years and taught in 50 countries. And then I started up my businesses, and now I have a media agency that helps other creatives and helps other entrepreneurs build their brands. So fast forward today, we're working with a lot of people, working with the Ritz-Carlton and Dubai Board of Tourism, and also helping a lot of these up-and-coming famous entrepreneurs like Russell Brunson, Robert Kiyosaki, to name a few. But that's where life's at now.
It's amazing. And I love the story about how, it's really just, you took your creativity and also your drive and hustle, and you applied it to other industries and other businesses. And so let's talk more about your breaking background and everything. So it's cool because I know that you used to be a personal trainer as well, and then you auditioned for So You Think You Dance. Right. So how did you get into So You Can Think You Can Dance? Who told you to get into that? And tell us about that process and how you got into Top 100.
Yeah, so I grew up watching the show, watching Hawk and Quest Crew audition back in the day, and those guys really inspired me. To actually audition. So like I said, I grew up in Iowa. I didn't have a lot of mentors. I didn't have a lot of people that taught me about breaking and everything. But I met some other guys that did it, and we created a crew, and we'd battle in places like Chicago and stuff. And then just from those experiences, those guys were like, dude, you should try out for So You Think You Can Dance, because you're pretty serious about, breaking and dance, and you should audition. And so there's an audition in LA, and I remember telling my parents that I want to audition, and they're like, man, good luck, right? Because it's a really big show. And what happened, long story short, was I bought a ticket. My flight ended up getting canceled.
Oh, dang.
And this was when I was a college student, right? And I didn't have that much money, but I was I told my parents that I really wanted to do it. So I bought another ticket. They're like, you're crazy. Waited 15 hours in line to audition.
Wow.
In LA, and just kept on going, advancing. And I text my parents. They're like, what? That's crazy. You're 4th round, 5th round.
Nice.
And, that's kind of how it happened, but I never actually made it to the top 20, but
still
top 100 in LA audition was cool.
That's still pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then back then, how many years were you breaking at that point?
I've been doing it for about I started when I was 15.
Ooh,
and then
nice.
At that time when I auditioned, it was about for 6 years. And I moved to LA and took a bunch of different styles. Remember meeting Emilio Dosal from IME Crew, and he's at the audition, he's like, dude, you can take all these different styles, ballroom partnering, modern, contemporary is going to help you. So I just listened to his advice and started taking classes.
That's awesome, man. You took ballroom.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it's important for dancers and just people in general just to explore outside of their normal craft and their normal likes and interests?
Yeah, so I think it just adds flavor to your style too.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's like by taking other movements and other styles of dance, it adds to yours. You know, and it inspires you and helps you think more outside the box of like how to integrate and incorporate other styles into your own dance. And so, I mean, but I really took it just for the show. So I took a lot of salsa and ballroom and stuff like that, just because it's all about partner dancing. And choreography as well, so that's the reason I took it. But yeah, it also helped me develop my own style.
No, that's cool, man. Because it's great to hear from like a dancer, you know, that you're okay with open up your mind to different styles, also different industries.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I see you now. You've grown into the travel industry. You've grown into the media and marketing industry, and it's really awesome to see that. So how did you actually grow from breaking? Like, what was the turning point? Because I know that you said one time that you got injured.
Yeah.
But how did that all come about? Because I know that you started off with So You Can Think You Dance, and then you started reaching out to dance studios around the world. So let's talk about that process and how you grew from that into Tribe.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it was always a dream of mine to like just teach dance all around the world and make it into a full-time career.
Yeah.
And so in my very beginning stages, when I was still in college and about to graduate school, I started to reach out to different studios, and they're like, I'd say like, hey, they'd say like, hey, how much do you charge? And I'd be like, you know, $250 an hour, and they're like, what, you're crazy, like you don't have a brand, like nobody knows you, like how can you charge that? And so what I learned from that experience and being rejected for so many times, and then also being rejected from So You Think You Can Dance, and having the executive producer just telling me like that you don't have what it takes to go all the way, what I learned from that is that sometimes it's good to listen to the no's, but sometimes it's good to also learn how to ignore them. And so what I did is I ignored that guy, but I took the advice of the other producer, Nigel Lithgow, and he was like, Zach, like, why don't you contact Nestle or like Nesquik? Because like at that time my b-boy name was b-boy Nesquik, because I always drank the chocolate milk drink before my battles. Yeah. And he was like, yo, like, why don't you contact them and see if you can get sponsored. You know, don't put your eggs in all in one basket. Like, this is a good show. This could elevate your career, but you don't necessarily have to win it. And that's when things clicked, and I'm like, okay, I learned about brand leveraging, right? I could say that I worked with So You Think You Can Dance. My friend and I created a video for Nestle, where at the end of the video, I was like, open the fridge and drink a Nesquik, right? Yep. And we sent that in, and they loved it, and got sponsored by Nestle, like Nesquik, for a year. And so then I was like, okay, I can use this, and that. That's what the studio owners were telling me, right? Like I needed to have a brand, right? And then it all made sense, and that's how I was able to teach in so many different countries, because I had a brand. Like, I could say I was on So You Think You Can Dance. I could say I worked with Nestle. And
wow,
that's kind of how it started. But
love that.
So it's that, but then also learning how to reach out to people and just add value, because I was never the best breaker. I was an average b-boy. But what I learned about myself is that I was super passionate about teaching, and teaching was my passion. And my market was just teaching recreational dancers at mom and pop studios like all around Iowa and the Midwest. And I just wanted to offer them a really cool experience and teach these kids how to develop better attitudes, how to work as a team, so they could, win more performances, but also have a lot of fun. And that's how I was able to make it, full-time career.
That's amazing, man. I like the idea that you were reaching out to these recreational dance studios because you wanted to teach these dancers about team and whatnot. So what is it about breaking that inspires you? What do you love it so much about breaking, the dance, and the culture?
I mean, just breaking in general. I mean, it's like, it's something that you can do anywhere. And like, I think one of the reasons why I got so into it was when I studied abroad in Spain in 2006, and I met this crew, Arco Palm crew by b-boy Chino, b-boy Chuck. They're up and coming. They're pretty good. pretty world renowned now. But they just taught me about like team and leadership and about you know, crew and taking care of each other, but also learning from each other and challenging each other and growing with each other. And so they taught me just meaning of like really hard work and breaking anywhere. You know, they practice 4 hours a day, like on the streets though, like on the concrete. And just, they didn't have a lot of money, so I just saw them like doing it, and I'm like, man, like I could just feel their passion, and that's what got me really passionate and fired up about dancing.
That's amazing, because I think that a lot of the b-boys and dancers in general, b-girls too, you know, just breakers out there, whenever they apply what they learn in breaking to other points of their life, I see so much success, you know, because I think that breaking does teach you about loyalty, about your crew, also about hard work. Like, to get to a certain level, to win at a battle, you need to work hard.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and really push through. Push through injuries, push through, I would say, negative beliefs about yourself, and push through just skill gaps.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you were able to teach that to people. And so I guess for a lot of dancers out there, you know, tell us the process of how you actually got these international dance studios to say yes to you, and then travel. I wouldn't say for free, but you got paid to travel, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you know, growing up, I was like, man, it'd be so dope, like, to have a studio from, like, Asia, or, like, you know, fly me out and I'd come in, teach a workshop, they'd pay me for that, put me up in a hotel. And so my very first international workshop was actually in Bangkok, Thailand. And
Nice.
I reached out to the studio, and I said, it was actually like a salsa studio.
Oh, damn.
But I was like, you know, we can, it would be fun for you guys to do like breakdance and hip hop. And so I said we should do a workshop. And so it was all through email, and basically I made it like a win-win for them. So I'm like, yes, it'll cost you for the flight, but I'm in Korea at the moment, right? So it was still international, it was outside of Korea. But it's not like they had to pay for my flight from like Iowa to Bangkok, right? I was already there. I could get a direct flight, which was only like $200, $300. So I was like, cover that, and then we'll split like 50-50, you know? And so I wanted to make it so it'd be a win for them, so I could at least cover their costs, but they could make some as well.
Yeah.
And she said yes. So that was my first international experience and my first foot in the door. But what I learned is like, before, when I tried to get these international gigs, like I was asking for way too much, right? I was like, hey, I want the flight, I want the hotel, I want the food, you know, I want the workshop fee,
Free
and all
gear.
of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But again, right, I didn't have an international brand yet.
That's right.
And so what you guys have to do is like, and what I had to learn is like low cost of entry point, right? Where I could make it a win-win, where they're not losing money and they're making money, so that we could put on an awesome experience for their students.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So I know that now you've actually created a company out of that to help other dancers to do the same.
Exactly. What I realized is, like, again, I was like never the best, but like I met so many, as I was traveling the world, I met so much talent, like so many skilled dancers and choreographers, like in India and Morocco, like all these different countries. And I'm just like, okay, well, you know, skill level, like they're better than me. Like they're better than I'll ever be. But what I learned and what I've been blessed at, I feel, is just learning, you know, knowing about PR and branding and scaling and growing companies. And so I took those skills that I learned as a, you know, personal trainer and in school and just in life, and then I wanted to focus on helping build other people's brands, because I feel like if people are just doing more of what they love every single day, they become happier, and that's how that happiness spreads. And so that's why I created the Six Figure Dancer Academy, and my tribe Influencer Academy is just to help other creatives do more of what they love every day.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight up. I think that's so refreshing to hear that, because I want to actually, you know, like inspire creatives as well to live a full creative life, because it is fulfilling, and it's such an amazing lifestyle to be able to travel, to be able to teach, give back, build your own brand, help others. It's just a win-win-win all over the place. And I wanted to know, like, for you, as you were traveling and you were doing these these dance classes, you figured out how to create another brand out of it, which was Tribe. And so how did that come out of you doing these dance studio gigs and starting the dance school as well?
Yeah, so I mean, you asked this before, but I think I forgot to talk about it. But I injured my back in India 2015, 16, and that ended my career. And it ended up having to have surgery. And I remember the doctor saying, you're gonna have to have surgery, and you might never be able to dance again. And so, after that experience, I became depressed. I didn't know what I was gonna do because I didn't have a plan B, right? And I even remember growing up, and my financial advisor guy was like, dude, like, Zach, what happens if you get injured? What happens if you can't use your hands or feet? How are you gonna make a living? And I was like, I was cocky. I was like, I'm never gonna get injured. Like, I was in really good shape at that time. I was a personal trainer. It's like, I've never been injured before, But then when it happened, I became depressed. And while I was depressed, the same friend who got me into dancing called me up and was like, Zach, I know you're going through some hard times or whatever, but I got a big opportunity for you. Like, me and my brother are making a lot of money on Instagram, like growing people's accounts, growing people's brands. Like, you should get in on this. And so with the little money that I had left saved up, I invested in an Instagram account with him, and we started growing people's accounts, making money. And fast forward today, we have a 56 million network company, growing some of the top brands in the world. But it happened by accident, really.
Really?
Because I had no choice but to go all in. And I've always been that kind of guy where I'm like, if I become passionate about something, I just want to learn everything that I can about it, or the business, to help others. Because I feel like life is really just about making other people better and growing yourself. And as you grow yourself, you're able to help more people. So that's why I started this stuff and became like, I think I was able to scale it and grow it pretty fast, is because I took what I learned with my dance and teaching workshops all over the world, and being rejected so many times and hearing so many no's, that I learned that next no would bring me one step closer to that yes, right? And so I heard hundreds of no's, but then eventually someone gave me a chance.
A lot of people, after getting injured, hearing no's, they'd give up.
Yeah.
And so what was that mindset? How did you learn that mindset and that confidence to push through and to achieve those goals that you wanted in life?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, like, I don't really know. I feel like it was innate, but then also, like, watching other dancers go for their dreams. Like I said, like, Hot Kanishi and like all these like Twitch and like all of these other people, like I saw them just try out like several times for So You Think You Can Dance. Yeah. And each season they tried out, they advanced and made it further in the competition. So I was like, okay, well that's the key to success, right? It wasn't just like overnight, like they made it and were on the show. Like some people it was, but then there's other people where you have to really work hard and you have to be persistent and consistent and never give up to like really make your dreams come true. So I think it was outside influence like that and watching other people just try over and over again until they made it.
No, that's really cool that you say that, because I know that we talked about this before about your story when you were younger. You were embarrassed about like a speech impediment that you had, and we're saying now he's actually talking on stages with Greg Hardot, Sylvester Stallone, and going from that to now speaking on stages. Tell us about that story and how it feels now to be on stages to talk your story.
So I said, I was born in Korea and then adopted by my parents in Iowa. And what happened was it was hard for me because I grew up in Iowa, right? And I was this Korean dude, and so I looked different. And then too, I spoke different. I had a speech impediment, so I couldn't say the letter R, like until I was in my 20s or something like that. And I know it sounds like kind of funny, but like I remember going to these speech therapy classes that I hated going to, and I told my therapist one day that I wanted to quit. She was like, Zach, if you quit, no one will be able to understand you, you probably won't amount to much, and you'll never be able to say the letter R in your whole life. And I was like 7, man, and like I just remember how much her words like hurt me and like crushed me inside, and like I just never spoke or participated in class because I was always getting bad grades. I had a 1.6 GPA in middle school. I was getting in fights and trouble. My parents thought I was going to be like a juvenile delinquent, and so life wasn't looking too good for me until I found dance. But and that became my platform and became my voice. It became my fire. It became something that I was passionate about and wanted to make into a full-time career. And but it goes back to me saying, like, you know, people tell you like it is, right? People tell you things that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. And people tell you things just to put you down and hurt you, but you have a choice, right? You can either listen to it, you can let that beat you up and make you feel depressed and sad inside and do nothing with it, or you can learn how to ignore that, listen to it, but then make something of it. And I just decided that wasn't gonna like bring me down. Like
that's right.
I'm meant for greater things, and you know, eventually I got over that speech impediment, which empowered me, and I'm like, felt like I was at the top of the world. So I was like, if I can like. I always thought if I could say the letter R, then I could do anything in life. And when I was finally able to just do that and not be like self-conscious about it and just not be afraid to speak, life really started to change for me. And you know, I think that's how I'm at where I'm at today, is because I'm not afraid to do things. I see something that I want to do and I try to do my best and go for it. But yeah, it's really crazy to me to think that I'm speaking on stages now that are, you know, 15,000 people or whatever. Cool. But still a long ways to go, man. But I feel it's cool to look back, you know? Yeah.
I mean, let's say you jumped in a time machine and you met your 10 years ago self.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say to that person to, in a way, just advice about life?
You know, I'd say like you have what it takes, like what you have to say matters, like your ideas and opinions are important, and that you have value and worth to offer others. So don't be afraid to voice them. Because I think everybody needs to hear, everybody needs affirmations, everybody needs encouragement, support, love, encouragement, you know, whatever, prayer. And that somebody to just believe in them. And so I think that's what I would have said.
It's amazing, man. I mean, now that you're continually growing, I see that with you. You're always developing yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have like any daily habits that you do or routines or whatnot that helps you each day or week grow? Whether it's mentors, whether it's books, exercises.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my daily habits, guys, I mean, like, so I'm every single week I'm in another country, another culture.
Yeah.
So my daily habits are traveling. So I feel like if I'm not traveling, then I'm not growing. Before it was books and audios, and I still listen to some podcasts, right? I don't really read as many books as anymore, but I'm going to start that because I do feel, you know, life is really about personal development, and you know, some of these books like shave time off your learning curve. So it's like you can simply read somebody's story and read their about their mistakes and lessons learned, and then instead of going like this, right, you can just go straighter, like faster to the top, right? And so that's why I think it's important. But for right now, I'm just learning from other people, because life is about people. So I feel like the more people I meet, the more cultures I learn about, that's in return going to make me better and also understand people better.
That's cool that you actually have this, I would say, empathy towards people and this connection with the people that you interact with, because that's rare, you know, when you are in sometimes the breaking world and sometimes the entrepreneurial world, you know. And I love seeing that and hearing that idea of connecting with people and the importance about that. Yeah. And you know, what would you say was that one moment in your life where when you saw the positive results of a connection that you made with someone or that interaction?
Yeah, I mean, there's been several, but you mean connections as like?
You say sometimes someone you talked to somebody or someone that reached out to you like online from what you've taught digitally, or on stage, you know, or just being out traveling. You know, I know that I read about you living on $2 a day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then being able to, that experience and connecting with, you know, cultures like,
Yeah.
you know, poor communities has helped you, you know, in a way kind of like developed your life.
Yeah, so I think that's it. Like, so I was living on $2 a day in 2009 for a whole year, and I did that by choice because I wanted to learn how other people live, my neighbors, and I wanted to learn how to live on less so others could have more. And so I did this volunteer experience where I helped these refugees find jobs and homes for a year. But yeah, one interaction person that came into my life during that year really opened my eyes, and it was a homeless person who sat next to me on a bus, and I kind of like scooted like to the side because, you know, she was older and had all of these raggedy clothes and kind of a, you know, street smell. And I was like, okay. But then I was like reading this book, and she's like, what book are you reading? And it opened up the conversation because a lot of the times, like, you assume things, you judge people, but you don't know their whole story. And that's what I was doing. But then when she asked me that, she expressed an interest to me, and that opened up a conversation. We started talking, she shared her story, and told me how that she was living a good life, she was married, but then her things went wrong, her husband hurt her, abused her, didn't have anything, was put on the streets, and that's how she became homeless. But what she taught me is to simply see people as people, that everyone is important as a human being, and everyone has something of value to offer others. And I mean, that just taught me a lot about life, you know, and taught me to stop being so judgmental and hypocritical, because I don't really know. So that's why, like, now it's taught me to just give everyone a chance and to simply hear their story.
Man, that's a powerful story, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to hear that from you because, you know, what usually people would just move to another seat and not even interact with that person. But
Yeah.
that when you took that chance, that actually changed your life.
Yeah.
And the idea of taking risks. And I've noticed that with your stories.
Oh, yeah.
Taking risks.
Yeah, and taught me a lot too, because taught me how to just stay humble, stay hungry, to live life as like I have a beginner's mindset. Like, I don't know anything, but I'm questioning to learn, to understand more about people and about life and things. And I think that's good. That's good to people because I think, yeah, it taught me how to just be humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
I didn't word it that well, like right now.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, bro, no. I'm with.
Yeah.
I just like talking to you about that right now
Yeah.
because being humble to me has helped with my life as well because you never know the person that's right next to you that could be what you think is a PA on set.
Yeah,
Could be actually the producer.
that's true.
Or I remember when, you know, if I was at a meeting and then you meet with someone and you realize that the person that was right next to you in line is the person you're meeting.
Yeah.
And if you treat them like crap,
Yeah.
you're going to end up, you know, with a really awkward meeting.
Oh yeah,
And same thing goes with Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Treat the Uber driver like they're a CEO.
for sure.
You know, you never know
Yeah.
who is the map to the treasure. At the same time, we're just people.
Yeah,
You know, can we just like appreciate each other for who we are and for just existing?
definitely.
And I think that as we grow I would say as a nation, well, as a community and it's just a world in general, I think more and more people are seeing the value of just appreciating others.
Yeah,
I mean, we're at kind of a state in the world where people like to marginalize communities at this point, and I think people like us are rising up to like really show that nice guys finish first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And so let's not, you know, think that being an asshole is going to get you up there because it proves right now that assholes aren't going to get up there anymore. And
Yeah,
so
definitely.
let the good guys win.
Oh, for sure.
And so for you,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about it earlier, and I also want to help people as well, is the idea of the importance of a mentor. And the idea of, like, you know, when you grab a book and you listen and you read about people and it helps you learn about successes and the pitfalls and the mistakes people made, and it's a faster route towards success. But having a mentor is even more helpful. And you actually had a mentor back in college.
Yeah.
And that helped you even get more mentors in parts of your life. So
Yeah, I've had several mentors over my in my life. Started out in college, and then my college president, because I was like, okay, now that I could say the letter R, I was like, okay, now I need to learn how to speak. And I always thought he was a great speaker, so I messaged him. I was like, hey, can I study with you? He's like, I don't offer personal study courses anymore. But I was like, I really want to study with you. And like, I listed this, and that. Like that really, those things that you've done have fascinated me. And so I've gotten mentors just by simply doing my research and my homework and making them feel loved and respected. Like, okay, wow, this person really cares and is really hungry to grow. And I've also paid for mentors, right? And paid for masterminds to go learn from these top thinkers, because there's so much more growth to come, right? I mean, I'm just like, man, I have so much more to learn. But there's a lot of great resources out there nowadays, from YouTube to books to podcasts to audios to online mentors, and you're not alone. I mean, that's what I learned, is that there's always someone out there who can help you and get you where you want to go.
Yeah. And you just mentioned it too, the idea of masterminds, and I think a lot of people don't. It's kind of like a new idea to some folks. I've known about it for like a year or two, and to talk about masterminds and what they are and how it's helped you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of events and masterminds, but when I think of the word mastermind, the things that come to mind is a group of people who come from all different walks of life, all different careers and stages, to one spot, and just simply sharing and doing, hot seat rounds where it's like you have one person in the middle and everybody that person tells their problems, their challenges, the good, the bad, the ugly about their business, and everybody offers advice and connections so that person can grow and grow their business. So that's what really masterminds are. It's a community of people that help each other out and help live a better life through advice and connections that they make.
Nice. I know that you actually have your own mastermind. And it's cool to hear that you're actively helping people and you want to, and it's showing people that they're appreciated and really activating people's like creative passions so they can live a full-time, meaningful life. And now that we've talked about all the ways that a dancer can really become a full-time dancer, I'd love to talk about how you as a dancer turned into a entrepreneur, and now with the Sistagram, which is just blowing up, man, and I'm so like inspired by you, because that's such a cool story, because being able to apply that into the entrepreneurial world, and in less than, I would say, 3 or 4 years, you're speaking on stages and working with some of the biggest entrepreneurs. So I would love to know more about like now your new company and what you're trying to build from it.
And so kind of taking it back, like when I got injured, I started up a Sistagram, and think of it as like your own, like just personal team member, like from my company, grinding on your account every single day, doing content creation, posts, engagement, outreach, everything you need to do to grow your account. And so I think the how I was able to like scale it so fast and everything was because, again, it's like I learned life is about relationships. So what I learned is if you can say that you've worked with this person or that person and then help that person who's maybe at a higher level in life or position than you at that time, the good word spreads, right? Whether it's you're a dancer, a choreographer, like working with the studio, maybe offering your services for free. Like that's what I really did when I started up a Sistagram, is some of my first clients were like non-paying clients, like cash-wise, but investment-wise, I was investing in the relationship. And I knew that, okay, if I did a really good job and delivered awesome results for this person, they're going to tell others about me and give me paying clients. And so I just rinsed and repeated several times. And still to this day, I mean, I don't do that as much anymore, but like what I learned is that everybody wants to feel loved and respected. So a lot of these, top dogs or whatever, like they worked really hard to get there. Right? And so by acknowledging and showing them love and respect, like, hey, you've done this really well. I appreciate that. Like, that really inspired me. Like, how you're helping other people, like, with this is inspiration. And then helping them, if, for free or giving them a discount, has allowed me and gotten me some of the top brands in the world as clients. So low cost of entry point, and then investing in relationships. So then it's a no-brainer. Like, wow, this guy's giving me a ton of value for like nothing, but he just wants to give and just help out and do an awesome job. Like, I'm gonna hire him, test him out, and then that's how I think it worked out for me.
Wow, yo, these are great advice for everyone out there, even just dancers and creatives. And I've always learned from just being a creative the idea of giving yourself to your craft and being willing to work for free. And as you build with certain brands and certain companies for free, it actually builds your portfolio and your reel and your referral network. And for a lot of the dancers and the creators out there who are kind of hesitant about doing quote unquote free work when you're just starting out, who don't create every single day, what was kind of like your motivation to just do this for free and be able to just grow? Because
I was so passionate, man. Like I said, like, teaching was my passion, and it's just something that I simply wanted to do more every day. I saw it like inspiring kids and making them smile and really changing up their attitudes. And I'm like, always thought if I could do that and do that full time and around the world, I'd be happy. So it was really just because I had it in my heart, and I was like, okay. I was super pumped and excited to do this stuff. But then, eventually I did want to get paid for it too. So it's like, from doing it for free, building up those testimonials, building up relationships with people saying good words and saying good things about you, to starting to get slightly paid, like partially paid, until I had more of a bigger brand and like more of a network of like tons of people saying good things about the classes, to charging premium prices, because I could go in and I could say like, hey, like, I'm gonna help you guys, your kids, improve their performance, improve their attitudes, and help you guys win more competitions through my classes, through my network of choreographers coming in to do workshops for you.
It's amazing, man. And I think I want to know from your point of view, kind of like your thoughts on dancers, and as they get older and can't dance anymore, can't compete, can't teach anymore, the importance of finding something outside of dance to help support you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think as like creatives, we have so many different ideas and things that we want to do, But like what I learned from some of my mentors is start your side hustle now, right? Yeah. You could have your core business, your core focus, right? Whether it's dancing or creating or drawing or whatever. But you have to also think about like, boom, like what happens if, tomorrow happens and you can't do that anymore, or what happens if you get older and things just, you're not able to perform at a highest level anymore. So I always tell people like start their side hustles now and start growing that, so that side hustle, that everything that you're passionate about, could overtake your current passion, core business focus right now, because that's important. You got to plan for the unexpected.
Hell yeah, man! Y'all just got some gems today, and it's just really cool to hear from someone that is speaking from the heart. And you speak from the experience of not being appreciated or seen, and working through your problems, becoming successful, and now making other people feel appreciated and seen.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see that and hear that. And man, I would love to tell people, where can we find you? Where can we support you so we can, just learn about your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys can follow me on Instagram at ZachVK, or look me up on Facebook, Zach Benson. And then, you can connect with me there. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear what you have going on. If I can help in any way, I'd love to support.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, appreciate you.
Awesome,
bro.
Man. Thank you for having me.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I myself am inspired by you. That's why I reached out on LinkedIn, and I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from this podcast, this video, this interview, and I'm just looking forward to see how you grow,
Yeah.
and all the amazing things you're gonna create, man. So
Awesome.
good luck.
Thank
and
you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.